Shouldn't you be on your way to the airport? You know it's only 20 minutes before Mrs. Phillips and Toby arrive.
Yes, I know, but I had an emergency call from Dr. Edmonds. I've been with him for the past few hours. Oh, I should still make it with a few minutes to spare. Anything else come up while I was out?
Nothing urgent. Oh, did you know there's a party over at Bunny's for Dr. Garcia and Nurse Brooks? Jim Howard wondered if you'd like to go.
No. I think everybody would be much more inclined to enjoy themselves without the hospital superintendent peering over their shoulders. Besides, I can't just collect Toby and Martha and dump them at the flat and then take off again. Well, that was the whole idea of bringing him up here in the first place, so I could spend more time with him, let him see that I cared.
Are you happy with the flat?
Oh, yes, it'll do nicely for the time being. Thanks for your help on that.
Oh, I'm glad it worked out. And if there's anything else I can do to help, you know, you've only got to ask me. Toby's a good boy. I mean, he hasn't had a very easy time of it lately, what with his accident and Laura's illness.
Oh, Helen, there's no need to spare my feelings. We both know what the real problem has been. It's the old story of the child caught up in the middle of an unhappy marriage. Well, that was the reason why I agreed to send him to Melbourne in the first place, to try and protect him from some of the emotional flack that's been flying around.
Have you found a good school for him yet in Sydney?
No, I thought I'd leave that for a couple of weeks until I've had time to spend a bit more time with him. Perhaps like that I'll get to know what the real problem is.
Does Laura know what's happened?
No, I sent her a letter, but I haven't had a reply yet. But she and Alexandra will be coming out for Tony's wedding, and we can talk about it then. I just hope seeing the two of them together doesn't upset Toby further.
Would you like me to come with you? To the airport, Alan?
No. Thanks, Helen, but no. I appreciate your wanting to help, but that's been exactly the problem. In the past, I've always been far too willing to share out the responsibility for Toby. Now it's something I've got to take on myself.
Brian.
Oh, thanks.
There's still no reply from the house. Checked with our friends. No one seems to have seen Eve.
I don't know why you're so worried. I mean, she's only been gone a few hours.
But she said she was going shopping with you, and she wasn't. Can't understand why she'd lie to me like that.
Oh, that's putting it rather strongly, Graham.
Well, there's no other way to put it. Something's either true or it's not, and what she told me wasn't true. She's obviously up to something she doesn't want me to know about.
I am sure there is a perfectly logical explanation. Now stop worrying.
Okay, now we've got to make it to Bunny's later, but I'll see you and Nurse Brooks before you leave.
Okay, thank you. Have either of you seen Chris Piper?
No. Have you tried in casualty?
Yes, I've looked everywhere in the hospital. There is no sign of him.
Don't go jumping to ridiculous conclusions. Graham can't find his wife. Be careful what you say, Tony, or he's going to be convinced she's run off with Chris Piper.
It isn't Sister Turner that I'm worried about. It's Lisa. She's gone too.
Thank you. Starting to think you weren't coming.
I was held up in casualty and Tony was there. If I left any earlier, I would have noticed. I could hardly tell him where I was going, could I? Oh, gin and tonic, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Well?
We got to sort this thing out once and for all.
There's nothing to sort out. I'm marrying Tony, and that's all there is to it.
The biggest mistake you're ever likely to make in your life. That's what we're talking about. I'm not going to let you do it.
Thank you. It has absolutely nothing at all to do with you.
It has everything to do with me. I love you.
So does Tony.
Oh, maybe. But you don't love Tony. You're in love with me.
You really believe that, don't you?
Yes, I do. I really believe it. You gonna tell me you don't?
So what alternative are you offering?
Look, it's not a question of alternatives. The fact you're even considering it that way proves what I'm saying. You don't love Tony. Look, if you go through with the marriage on that basis, what chance do you think you've got of being happy?
Maybe not much. It's the best chance I've got. You say it's not a question of alternatives. Well, the way I see it, that's exactly what it is. Tony's offered me a family, a future, a life with him, and what are you offering?
love.
Oh, in your scale of values, that particular commodity comes very cheap.
Look, you and I are meant for one another.
Oh,
look, I know it's a corny old line, but it happens to be true. We've both known it right from the start. You can't go through with this marriage. You might be entitled to wreck your own life, but you've got no right to take Tony down with you.
Oh, I see, that's what it is. Concern for Tony now, is it? Not a bit worried about yourself.
In this case, his interests happen to coincide with mine. Although he doesn't realise it yet, but you do. Because you know you're in love with me. Don't you?
Hi there. Well, thanks for looking after him. Well, how's things?
All right.
Where's your grandmother?
Not coming. Doctor said she couldn't.
What have you been up to? You haven't been giving her a hard time, have you?
No, I just guess she's getting old.
And what about the school? The teacher's just getting old too.
I didn't like it there.
Well, you used to. Last time I brought you up here, you begged to be taken back.
I changed my mind.
Well, anyway, I think you're going to be much happier this time. I've got us a flat. We're going to spend lots of time together. Your cousin Kim's working at the hospital now, too. She'll be very pleased to see you.
Ah, Mrs. Gordon, I have a report here for Dr. Denham. If you're going back up to the office, you could save me the trip.
Yes, of course. I'll put it on his desk. He's not back from the airport yet.
Oh, good, thanks. Oh, excuse me. Mr. Turner?
Yes, Doctor.
Where have you been?
Oh, here and there. What are you looking so crotchety about?
I know you didn't go shopping with Susan Richards.
Oh, dear, my terrible secret is out.
I'm in no mood for jokes, Eve. You lied to me, and I don't find that very funny. Now, where have you been?
I think we should talk somewhere more private.
Yes, I think perhaps we should. All right. And what's all this about? I fail to see what is so amusing.
Oh, Graham, darling, you are. You should see yourself standing there all stern and bristling. You really think I've been involved in some sort of diabolical conspiracy, don't you?
I don't pretend to know what you've been involved in. However, I would like to know why you found it necessary to lie to me.
It wasn't a serious lie, darling. Don't you think that if I wanted to really put something over on you, I'd have found something a little more convincing?
Where have you been then?
I had an appointment to see a doctor.
What? Well, what's wrong with you? Why didn't you tell me?
Because I didn't want you carrying on the way you're carrying on now. I'm perfectly all right, Graham. I went to see Dr. Henderson.
Dr. Henderson. Gail.
Do we know another Dr. Henderson?
Well, I was in wards with her only 20 minutes ago. She didn't say anything.
That's probably because she didn't think it was her responsibility to tell you that your wife's pregnant.
Well, she should have. She should have known that I would... What? What?
You silly old grouch, you're going to be a father.
What?
Sorry to intrude. I'll only be a minute.
It's all right. I was just sitting here thinking.
Wonderful things are happening outside. Graham has just announced that Eve's pregnant. He's so high, he's practically walking on the ceiling.
She's pregnant? And that's supposed to be good news?
I think she knows what she's doing, Tony.
Yeah, maybe. Sometimes I wonder if any of us know what we're doing.
If that's a reference to your getting married, I don't think I can say anything more on the subject.
Isn't something I have to decide for myself. It's what I've been thinking about.
Tony.
Lisa, where have you been? I've been looking for you everywhere.
That's good, because we have to talk.
Well, I'll leave you to it.
Thank you, Doctor.
All right, Lisa. What is it we have to talk about?
Hi, how's it all going?
Good. I hope everything goes off okay.
What, the party or the wedding?
Both. But at the moment, I'm concentrating on the party. I mean, if we can get through this without a disaster, it'll be a good omen for anything that's coming after.
Yes, I hope you're right. I'm starting to think that Tony and Lisa could do with a few good omens.
Oh?
The last I heard, they were arguing again.
Oh, I hope it's nothing serious.
Oh, maybe it's just pre-wedding nerves. I don't know.
I hope so. If they cancel this party, after all the work I've done, I'll kill them both.
Oh, I think it'll be all right. They're certainly a good match for each other in the temperament department. And I guess there are people who just need to be constantly arguing as a sort of reassurance.
Reassurance of what?
Well, of the fact that they care enough about each other to want to argue.
That doesn't sound too reassuring to me.
No, I suppose not. But at least it's a form of communication. And that must be the single most important element of any marriage. Without it, the two of you just grow further and further and further apart, and you don't even have the consolation of being able to understand why.
That sounds like the personal voice of experience.
Does it? Anyway, what about you? How are you feeling?
Me? I'm fine. If you mean Clary... Clary who?
You haven't heard from him?
No, Jim, and I'm not likely to.
I've thought about it, Anne-Marie, and I've realized that we shouldn't be too hard on Clary. Well, he was just trying to be honest in his own way. He told me that if he'd have stayed on here any longer, he would have only hurt you all the more in the long run.
Okay, so he was honest. But at least he could have been honest to me, to my face. That's just something I can't forgive. Jim, would you finish this off? The guests will be arriving in a minute.
Sure.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Lisa. That didn't take long to get around, did it?
Yes, I believe Graham is so proud that he hired one of those vans with loudspeakers in it, and he's driving up and down the road, spreading the news to the world.
I certainly hope not. We're waiting for him and Gail to join us here so we can all go over to the party together.
Mm-hmm. There still is a party, isn't there?
Well, of course. Dr. Piper, I hope you're coming to the party.
I don't have time. I've got a lot to do.
But you could still come for a few minutes. I think it's the least you can do.
I don't see there's any point. Enjoy yourself.
You don't admit defeat very gratefully, do you?
Okay, okay, I'll be there. In fact, I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Oh, I thought Graham was working in here with you.
Yes, he is. He's just ducked out to pick up the path report.
Huh. Do you know how long you'll be? The party's just about due to start.
Well, we're almost finished. Why don't you and Graham go ahead and I'll catch up with you later.
Oh, no, we'll wait. I'll just go and tell Susan what's going on.
Eve, I gather Graham's pretty thrilled about the baby.
Yes, he is.
Uh-huh. Have you told him the whole story?
I've told him the important thing, Gail, that we're going to have a baby. I think that's all he needs to know for the moment.
Eve, I've warned you, this isn't a normal pregnancy. If you go through with it, your life could be in danger. You've no right to do something like this without consulting Graham first.
The decision's been made, Gail. Nothing's going to change my mind.
Nevertheless, Graham has to know, and if you don't tell him, I will.
You know you can't do that. It would be a breach of professional ethics.
What exactly is it that Graham has to know?
I think I'd better go and call the clinic.
Why is it I'm getting that conspiracy feeling again?
I suppose I'll have to tell you. There's an hereditary trait in our family that Gail feels you ought to know about. We tend to have triplets. Come on, or we'll be late for the party.
Toby. Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks, Mrs. Gordon. It's nice to see you again.
Did you have a good flight?
It was great. First time I've flown by myself.
By yourself? What about...
Oh, Mrs. Phillips isn't coming, Helen. She has to stay in Melbourne.
Anything wrong?
Toby,
I know, you want to talk to Mrs. Gordon in private. I'll wait inside.
Well, according to Mrs. Phillips' doctor, she has to have complete rest. She's suffering from nervous exhaustion. I gather largely brought on by Toby. According to this, she feels she's done all she can. From now on, it's up to me.
Do you think you can manage?
Well, I'll have to. There's no one left who I could unload him onto, even if I wanted to.
Until he's settled, he can stay with me, if that'll be of any help.
Oh, thanks, Helen, but as I said before, I am his father. It's time I accepted my responsibilities. But I have a feeling that it's not going to be easy. He hasn't said a word to me since he got off the plane.
Well, he seems bright enough now.
Ada, I've reserved a special place for you and Tony and Lisa's table.
Oh, thanks. Very nice.
I'll just
Hello. Will this be all right?
Yes, great. Come join us.
Excuse me a minute. Yes. Now, can I get you something to drink?
I'll just have a soft drink, thank you.
Scotch and dry, thank you.
Right, lemon squash, are you?
Lovely.
How's it going? Well, now that we're at the party and 20,000 people are no longer waiting with bated breath for our arrival, do you have any objection if we talk?
I can't hear you, darling. There's too much noise.
I want to know what you and Gail were discussing before.
I told you, we'll probably have triplets.
You stop joking. Gail sounded worried about something.
Don't be silly, darling. You're just imagining things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think I am. Imagining things.
Oh, Graham, stop going on. This is supposed to be a party, for heaven's sake.
All right, if you won't tell me, I'll ask Gail when she gets here.
Congratulations, you two. There's a table right over here. Oh, she was beautiful.
Well, here they are then. I must admit I didn't think for a long time they'd ever make it.
This is just the farewell party, Ada, not the wedding.
Ah, saved from a fate worse than death. I'm just resigning myself to an evening of absolute loneliness.
Well, Chris, I'm supposed to be with the Steeles. I can't.
My need is greater than theirs. Come this way, please, Doctor. There you are. Want to have a drink?
I love this served.
What's this served?
Oh, there's Gail now.
Graham?
Gail, can I ever talk to you for a minute, please?
Graham, I don't really think...
It'll only take a minute. Look, when I came into the workroom before, you were saying that there was something that I should know.
Graham, I don't really think that I should be the one to talk about it because...
Gail, you have to tell me. Is there something the matter with Eve?
Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please?
Oh, yeah, come on, quiet. Be quiet there.
Hey,
All right, attention. Come on.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, I suppose you're wondering why I've called you all here today, eh?
No, not really.
Well, the fact is, it's my solemn duty to announce a couple of official announcements of the good news and the bad news variety. Well, first, the good news. In case you hadn't heard, our handsome Dr. Garcia and the beautiful Nurse Brooks have decided to espouse each other.
Aren't they going to get married first?
And now the bad news. They're leaving us and they go to Perth. But the good news part two. Before they go, we are going to give them one heck of a farewell party, right?
Attention. I'd like to make an announcement. Lisa and I want to thank you very much for the party, but it isn't a farewell party. We've changed our minds about going to Perth. In fact, we also changed our minds about getting married. The engagement is off.